for you. The reason why we are having this presentation today is because we've heard a lot from the students, from the parents about anxieties of transitioning from high school to college. And we want to be able to have that professional touch for you all to be able to hear from a parent of 2 college graduates. So on the line also with me is Mr. Burrows. He is one of our senior counselors. He has the beginning of the alphabet, last names A through J. I am Shamel Yamofio. I have the end of the alphabet for your seniors K through Z. And I would love to give Mr. Burrows the floor because he has an announcement for us.
Good afternoon. Yes, thank you, Mr. Mofio. So a quick announcement. So we just had a college visit from Fayetteville State University, located in North Carolina. Exciting news is that they are a part of the North Carolina Promise, so NC Promise, which cut their cost of attendance down by over $10,000. So for an out-of-state student, the total cost will be roughly $19,000. That's including room, board, and also tuition and fees. And one thing that he mentioned today, the admissions rep, was that they also have free books. So students don't pay for books. They rent them in the library and they return them at the end of the semester. So if your student has any last minute college thing, they can apply to them. And also what he mentioned today, he gave me his contact information as well, and for the students that attended. But if they do have any questions, he has a cell phone number attached to the school that he quick to text them back or email them back. In addition to that, he mentioned that the turnaround time is within 72 hours. Oh, the school is Fayetteville State University, but it is a turnaround of 72 hours. So once they submit everything, within 72 hours, they hear their decision. So again, it's roughly $19,000. And that includes tuition, room and board, fees, and also to get books. So just want to give a quick update, just in case your student has any last minute. It's also HBCU. So just in case your student have a last minute they want to throw in. He did shout out that they were the first in North Carolina. And he also mentioned that they are good with athletics. So they are a D2 school. So students can get merit-based and also athletic scholarships as well. So that's just want to drop that in because he mentioned that all today. And it's great news for us. So we definitely want to make sure the parents know.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Burrows, for that. I don't think it's widely publicized, but I have seen it. I have seen it in some groups that I'm in. And so, yeah, Fayetteville State definitely has a great deal going on for tuition. So I would hop on it if you can, if you're interested in that. They were visiting us today, as Mr. Burrows may have mentioned. So they're here for the CIAA, which is in Baltimore. So now I would love to read the bio of our dynamic guest. Dr. Nicole Henderson is a dynamic higher education leader, executive consultant, professional speaker, professor, and champion of debt-free college, and is committed to equity and diversity in higher education. She is a former Dean of Student Affairs turned social entrepreneur and is the founder and CEO of Collegiate Bridge Incorporated. Collegiate Bridge partners with families, school districts, educators, communities, and organizations, utilizing student-centered strategy to empower the next generation of Black scholars with knowledge and network needed to reach their full economic self-sufficiency potential in college and life. She empowers the next generation of students to step confidently toward their future and achieve their college and career goals by using proven strategies she created from her 15 years as a higher education executive. Dr. Henderson is passionate and committed to helping students achieve their dream of a college education. She coached students not only on getting admitted to college, but also ensuring graduation, and for many, successfully enrolling in medical school, law school, and doctoral programs. She understands college success from an application stage to a graduation stage. She holds a doctorate degree in educational leadership and management from Drexel University, a master's degree in gifted education from the University of South Florida, and a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Florida. Through her teaching, speaking, and consulting work, Dr. Henderson has extensive experience creating college pathways and training higher education administrators on developing college access and success programming. Please welcome Dr. Nicole Henderson.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Wow, gosh. It's always hard sitting here listening to someone read your bio. And you're sitting here thinking, wow, is that really me? So thank you, Ms. Yamafio, for that introduction. I am excited to be here. I am committed to this work, and I hope that we have a really good live chat and chew today. So I'm excited that we're going to be talking about that college transition piece. And as you kind of read about my bio, you see that I have this really extensive background that really covers all the way from the admission stage all the way to the graduation stage for college students. So I bring all of that to this process. So today, of course, we're going to just be talking to senior parents today, correct? These are all our senior parents. And these are the parents now who are ready for that next step, that next chapter, that transition. And I think that's what I'm going to zero in on today. So I have a few slides I'm going to share that's just going to kind of talk us through or talk me through and share with you some strategies around what you can do right now, focusing on transition, because there's different pieces to this transition. Because if you think about it, your students, and some of you may have already received admission notices, some may still be waiting on some, but if they're receiving them now in January, February, but your child is really not going to enroll and start their college until August. That's almost a year away. So we're talking really like 8 months. So what are we talking about should be happening in that time frame when they're still in school, completing that, but still making that transition into that college space, right? So there's a lot of moving pieces there as well too. So we're going to break that down a little bit for you. So I'm going to just, in this short period of time, talk about that first kind of piece that you should be thinking about right now. So let me kind of see if I can share my screen. My technology is not my friend today, but we're going to make it work anyway. Y'all will find out about me that I'm really flexible. So I make things work however I need to make them work. And that's going to be one of those good skills to share with you, right? So I am Dr. Nicole Henderson. And today we're going to be talking about navigating the transition to college. And part of my organization, Collegiate Bridge, we created this Bridge to College workshop series specifically for parents. I'm a parent of 2 college kids. I've done this work for many years. I know what it's like to be sitting there and not sure should I be doing, what's the next step, and feeling like I'm just overwhelming the college counselors with questions, because I was that parent. Yes, I was the one trying to figure it all out. What do I need to know? Stay on top of it. And so that was for me. All right, so let me kind of talk about what we're going to be doing today. So today we're going to talk about, so your child has received the admissions decision, right? Now what? Okay, so that's kind of that first step. Remember I told you there's a lot of different steps in this. And I think in this workshop series, we're going to start here with the admissions decision. Now what? Then you got to make the decision of which college to attend. So we'll move into that one next. And then after that, after you've made the decision, the critical piece for me, as she has shared, it's all about paying for that college as well too. So then that next critical piece is, how much is all of this going to cost and how are we going to pay for it? Okay, without going into stifling massive amounts of debt. That is my passion, and that's why I really got into this work. Because over the years, I saw so many students being derailed by the cost of college, which is why I was excited by your announcement, Mr. Burrows, with institutions now that are understanding that and creating pathways for you as parents and your child, your student, to look at alternatives and look at different educational options in different colleges, because the cost of it is important. All right, so keep that in mind. And I'm sure you've heard that millions and millions of times, but it really is. I've been on the college campus, and as a dean of student affairs, I saw that time and time again, where the financing is what derails students. So let's jump in. Okay, so we have the admissions decision. Now what? That's what we all been looking for, right? You did all that work, you put in the work, you did everything, and you got the decision. Now what do we do now? What do we have to happen, right? So we're going to move on. I'm going to share with you some key college strategies that you should start paying attention to first. Why is that? Because you want to transition your child in the best position to be successful when they hit the college campus. Again, I cannot share with you the number of students that have hit the college campus in the role that I have worked in my various roles and have not been prepared, didn't have things completed. So they almost started behind the 8 ball. We don't want that to happen. So that's why we're going to start talking about some strategies you can start doing right now. All right, so, and we have to take this, and everybody's situation will be a little bit different. So make sure you understand and apply it to yours. I am talking in general terms of the acceptance that has happened. The admissions has already happened at this point, but we're going to talk about also, what if that didn't happen? Okay, we're going to jump into that in a little bit also, because a lot of this is around the admissions, acceptance. They got that letter, now what? But what if that didn't happen? We're going to hit that too, right? First things first. Once that letter comes, or before it's come, but we have already gotten this over here. First things first, if you have not done the FAFSA form, that is number one, it should be done first. Why? Because you need to have your financial aid offer from all the colleges that have accepted your child. They cannot create a financial aid offer letter without that FAFSA form. It will not happen. So that's critical number one. If you haven't done it already, that should be priority number one right now, get it done. Here's why. Because they complete the offer letters based on how they come in. They complete them based on FAFSAs that are completed. And the thing we need to know is the pool of money is not infinite and unlimited. The pool of money can run out, all right? So the student who has gotten everything in first will be at the front of the line when the pot is full. That's where you want your child. You want your child record everything complete at the front of the line when the pot is full and they're giving out the money. Now, there's some money, federal monies, that may be different, but school scholarships, things like that, those are set. It's not an unlimited pool of money. You want to be at the front of the line, right? So to do that, you need to make sure that FAFSA is number one, it's completed. Work on that now. I'm sure Mr. Burrows has talked about that. I'm sure you guys have probably done some workshops maybe around completion of FAFSA. I'm guessing here, has that happened or not? But if not, that's your resource to get that done as well, okay? Make sure you do that. Here is why. Again, I'm getting ready. This one in comparing financial aid offers is speaking to the space if your child has received numerous admission letters, all right? One of the things you want to do is to be able to compare the financial aid offers, right? Before you make a decision on which school they will attend. Why? Because you want to know what the school is offering. One college may offer more scholarships than loans. Another may have more loans on that letter. You need to get those offer letters, put them side by side, and take a look at them and make sure that you are comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges. What do I mean by that? Well, that's because there's different types of financial aid. There's loans, there's scholarships, there's grants. For me, Dr. Nicole, as my students call me, I break it down into two parts, really, for me. It's the money that you pay back and the money you don't. Okay, so what you want to focus on, of course, is the money that you don't have to pay back first. That would be your scholarships and your grants. And then you would then look at loans. All right, so if you're comparing financial aid offers, you have to have that in so you can take a look at this, right? So that's one of your key strategies. The next strategy is if you have multiple admissions, go back and review those schools now, okay? Now you got the list, you got the admissions. How did that school end up on the list? What were you looking for? What did you look at? Why did you like it? Ask more questions now around the schools so you can get a better idea of what the school looks like now that you're looking at just the admissions versus the entire list. Now, if you have a very large list of students, because again, this is individualized, it varies. I've had students over the years who have had as few as only 3 schools they applied to and looked at, and as many as 30. So it could depend on what that work will look like. And the larger the number of acceptances, the sooner you want to start looking at applying these strategies, okay? I'm not sure if you want me to just go ahead, answer questions. Are we going to do that at the end? I'm sorry, I didn't really make that clear how we want to do questions as moving through.
It's all good. Typically what we've done is we'll answer them in the chat.
Okay.
As you're talking, Mr. Burrows and I can answer the questions in the chat, but if it's something tailored towards you, then we can answer them at the end or whenever you feel like it's a good pause.
Okay. Sounds good. Perfect. Great. So I see that you got the chat, you're monitoring that. Perfect. Okay. Here's the other strategy. When you have that admission now, what's next? Because the next, remember, this step we're in right now is getting you to making the decision. That's the next big move is what school are you going to decide to attend? Because at the end of the day, if you got 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30 acceptances, you can only attend one school, one college, one university. So you got to get down to one, right? Which means then that you have to have a strategy of how you're going to get to that one school, if that is indeed the case, okay? Visit the campus again if you can. If you haven't visited, try to visit. There is nothing like really finding out the right fit for you than being on that campus. I have done campus visits with groups of students that I've done over the years where I've taken groups of students on college campus visits. I've done that work before, not only the ones I've done with my own children as well too. And I saw it come to light. I can tell you where a child is on that campus and they feel it and they know it's there and that's where they belong. And another can walk on there and say, this is not for me, and they know, and it is right. And I have seen the impact of that. So college visit is important if that's possible to do. I know it's not always possible, but certainly try to make it priority if you can. I know with COVID, we're not sure how that will work right now with all campuses. Some campuses are not doing college visits anymore. They're now online, they're virtual. Do those as well. Don't skip those. But if you have the option to visit and you can get on that college campus, I absolutely recommend doing that. I even had a couple of students and families that I've worked with, and it worked as well too. I'll share that. Even though the campus wasn't doing any college visits, the family still just went and visited the campus on their own. The campus was closed, but they still got a chance to see what the physical campus really looked like and what did it feel like walking on that campus. How large was it really for them to walk across campus from where the classes are being held to where the residence halls are. You can kind of figure that out whether they're doing a tour or you have a guided or not. So sometimes they just did that for themselves. So don't rule that out. That is an option as also. And the other strategy number 4 is ask about the academic requirements. What do I mean by that? Some schools require additional types of assessment and tests prior to you being able to enroll in any of your college level classes. For instance, some schools actually require what's called a placement exam or a placement test. What is a placement test? It determines whether they will rank it, make an assessment of whether the student is ready to enroll in college level courses. Many schools have that in place right now. Many students don't know about it. Parents don't know about it unless you ask. Sometimes it's not told until really late in the process, right before the student is ready to register for their classes in August. You want to know that now. Why, you ask? I'm glad you asked me that. I'm going to tell you why you really need to know that. A placement exam will determine whether a child, your child, a student, can enroll in college level classes based on the score on that exam. It doesn't impact the admissions. They're still admitted to the college, but it will indicate that they may have to take what the college will call developmental courses. That's usually the term that they will use. Developmental courses are not college level courses. You do not earn college credit for those. Those courses do not go towards the actual earning of the college degree, but based on that test, they are required before the student can begin their college level courses. They're taken at the college, you pay for it just like a college class. It is required before you can take another class, but it is very different. So let me give you an example. What the placement test will usually look at English, reading, well, English usually writing, reading, and math. Those are typically the areas. Schools can vary. So again, that's why that's something you need to know. Ask this question. Typically, for instance, in the English core, based on how the reading and writing score, and I've had this experience in one of my positions, I was the director of testing services. So know this inside out. So what we do is based on the score on that placement exam will determine which developmental courses a student may be required to take before they can take their first English course. I'm sharing with you, parents, so you know, I have seen students who, based on that score, would have to take 2 to 3 developmental courses, some up to 6, before they were able to take their first college class. That can add an additional year onto a college plan, okay? That's why this is so critical to know and ask the question, right? Why? Because if the placement test is required, you don't go in cold. It's just like any other test. Student has to know what test is and prepare for it. And the institution, the college, the university will have preparation materials for you and your child. So they need to make sure that they get that information and they prepare before they go in. Because what happens sometimes is you think it may be a class that they haven't taken in some time. It could be Algebra 1 on that exam. And if they haven't taken Algebra 1 in a while and they don't review and it's not fresh, well, guess what? I don't know about you, and I have a doctorate degree. I can't take a test with Algebra 1 right now if I don't review it. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of students. So be aware of that. That's a real one I see a lot with parents, and find out what academic requirements are for moving to that next step. All right, quick questions. Any questions on these first 4 strategies? Financial aid offers, how you review the schools, visit to the campus and why, and then finding out about that academic requirements, specifically if they have any placement exams. Some schools also may have a test you may have to take around certain majors. Like nursing, for instance, may have an exam you need to take before you can get into the science courses. Find out about that as well too. So you can kind of be prepared. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I think Pamela has a question. She says, so with those developmental courses, that could impact your time and support if the letter stated 4 years of support?
Yes, it could. If the institution has a program, a developmental education program, and all of them do not, so that is why the question must be asked. It absolutely can. Now, federal monies will cover students for 6 years. So the federal government basically has 6 years for students to earn a 4-year bachelor's degree. So in that sense, you're okay. Most institutions may cover the additional years as well too, if the student comes in and may have to take those courses. It depends on the individual institution, the college, the university. Did that answer the question? The best way is to be aware and be ahead of it so that you know, which is why I'm sharing this information with you now so you can ask those questions and see if it exists. And it is a question you should ask as well too. So if you have a letter of admissions and you have a financial aid offer that says 4 years of support, then that's a great question to ask. Find out about, do they have placement exams and do they have those requirements, and will the support also cover those years as well, those courses as well? And institutions can do that. They can cover the developmental courses. Federal aid will cover those courses. So it's not as if it's not covered. All right. All right, a couple more strategies I want to share with you. The other one to take a look at, which is important because again, remember we're at this decision stage, student life. How do you find out about the student life on that campus? This is a critical piece of it because students spend the majority of their time in college outside of the classroom. It's the campus, it's the environment, it's the student life that where they will spend most of their time. The classroom actually is the smallest amount of time. How do you find out? Go online and find out about student life, student activities, search that. What clubs do they have? What kind of activities do they have? Look and see what kind of things they're showing on their website. Ask questions around that and see if it is the type of environment, the type of activities, the type of clubs that your child would be interested in, or that they can look at and say, yes, I love this. This is the club I want to be in. This looks like an environment where I want to be. They need to know that as well too, because that is a critical piece that is often overlooked. And then students get there and they realize, I don't even like this campus. This is not for me, because they forgot that piece. They didn't look at what the student life looks like on that campus. So remember that piece. Remember that strategy. And let me tell you the best place to go find out, starting online with the college and the organization, the department around student life. It could be student activities, student life. It has different names at different schools, but try there, look for things around the student life, student support, all of that. What kind of supports do they have in place for students? This is important. You know why? Because then it's going to talk about the next strategy around retention and graduation numbers. It's important. You want to know that. Okay. What does that retention number mean? Well, you want to know if all the students that they admitted that freshman year, are those students coming back that second year, third year, fourth year, and getting to the graduation stage? That is critical information to know. Why? Because it may mean something about what's happening in the classroom. Are the faculty really supporting students? Do they have a lot of supports in place for students? What kind of activities do they have? Do students feel connected and love the college, or they feel left out? Those numbers kind of help you see what's going on. So you ask the question, where do you get those numbers? Admissions. You can, you should have I'm sure, admissions rep at the school that you can contact, email that person and ask them where those numbers are. More than likely, they're on the website somewhere, so they'll probably send you to a link to kind of take a look at them, where they are. But you want to make sure that these school graduation and retention numbers better be up in the 70th percentile. That means they're committed to their students and they want to see their students be successful and they want to see their students graduate. If it's below that, you want to take a look at it and start asking some more questions and digging in and finding out why. Where do you go to find out? Best place, social media. Social media is the best place because the students can then connect with other students who are right there at the college now, and college and students who are already there, enrolled or who have attended, they have the best information. They're going to give you better information than what you're going to find out on that website or what admissions is going to tell you, because admissions is going to tell a really great story. Not saying that it's wrong or it's not right, but they may leave out some stuff, right? That's just how it is. They did not tip, they just left it out. Whereas if you talk to students who are there and or attending, who or have attended, you can really find out what's going on. They will absolutely, you will love it here. Yes, come here, da, 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 da. Or they will say, no, it's not the best. I love this, but I don't like this about it. Social media is the best place to find that and connect with the students that are there right now, right? Other strategy right now, I think you talked about this around scholarships. It's scholarship season right now. That's the other thing you should absolutely be doing right now, is still working on scholarships, searching for scholarships, not just waiting for the scholarships that's going to come from the institution, the college, university where your child has been accepted, but all the other massive amounts of scholarships that are out there. They're everywhere. And it's just a plan that's needed to find those scholarships as well too. So that is something, is a strategy that you should be doing now as well too, because now you have a little bit more information for scholarship applications. Now you've been accepted, you can include that in the information. And sometimes that is also a benefit. Sometimes those organizations that are awarding scholarships, they kind of love the idea, and again, it depends on who it is, of students who have been accepted. They like that, like, okay, that's a student we want to look at and we want to invest in. So that could be a benefit now of applying. Applying for scholarships. So those are 6 key strategies that will help you move to that successful transition to college. Now there's others, but this is just that first one.
Thank you. We have a question from Kelly Packwood. There are some schools that provide scholarships, but have clauses to accept and enroll within 2 weeks or a set date. The problem is you have not received a financial aid letter for other schools to compare and make a decision. What do you suggest as a strategy to handle?
I've had some of that experience with students and families. My strategy is, unless the scholarship is a full ride, you cannot accept within 2 weeks, because you don't know what other institutions will offer. And my strategy would be to contact the institution and let them know how excited you are about that and the scholarship offer. However, it doesn't cover the entire amount. How would that be covered? And with the institution, are they also offering coverage for the remainder? But be very careful of committing to that too early. I will share a story with you right now, and it's actually one of my stories I'm most thrilled about right now, because this is just happening right now. I just got this notification just this week, actually. I had a student family I've been working with for about a year and a half. You'll find out when I work with families, I keep them until we get to the graduation stage. That's just how Dr. Nicole is, and I still have all my students I've worked with over the years. But anyway, so this particular student, her number one school was Duke University. That's what she wanted. She did early decision. She didn't care. She applied for a few other schools. It was Duke. She did early decision, got in. She accepted immediately because she wanted Duke. Her financial aid package was awful when she did that. Absolutely gave her nothing. And she was a stellar student who got in really quickly because she had a very strong record. What oftentimes parents don't realize, and of course from my inside knowledge of working in higher ed so long, institutions use scholarship dollars and money to recruit students. That's how they recruit, with money. If you accept too quickly, then they have no need to recruit you with additional money. That's what happened to her. She accepted too quickly, right away, because that's what she loved, and they offered her no money, despite her stellar record. So I worked with her for a while. We were able to get her a $20,000 scholarship based on her record, and we did some negotiations. We were able to get that. However, I still felt like based on her record, she should have had more scholarships than that. Her record was outstanding and stellar. So we didn't stop. We continued. We kept moving. Even when she was there, she went there. We continued with pursuing additional scholarships, pursuing the institution, sending them additional letters. Lo and behold, she now has a full ride. So we never stop either. So that's the lesson there. Never stop even once they are enrolled. So now she has a full ride for the rest of her years there at Duke University. But the first lesson there is don't sign too quick. Just don't. They use the money to recruit. And if you are a strong student, stand on that and challenge them to give you more. And that's what we did constantly with her. We challenged them more. And we said, okay, well, she has other options. And if another institution offers her some more money, then she's going to go there. And they didn't want to see that happen. So that's how we were able to get the first $20,000 scholarship. All right. So as parents, you do have some power in negotiating, questioning, requesting, and especially, so advocate for your child, man. It's okay to do that. Don't be afraid to speak up and say, well, no, this is not enough. We need more. So any other questions around these first strategies? All right. So we talked about and started with my strategy I want to share with you was around getting that admissions letter. And what's the next strategies now? What's the next steps? What do we should be focusing on there? All right, well, what about this? What about this one? What happens here? What if all of the letters that come, the notifications, aren't an admissions or an acceptance? What happens there when we see this happen? What if the dream school that they really, really wanted to attend, your child wanted to attend, they didn't get accepted there? What if they were waitlisted? The student I just shared with you, her dream school was Duke University. What would have happened had she not had that? I mean, she not gotten that one. What happens if it's just one school? What if it's several schools? I've had students who applied to 10 schools, but only got admitted to 5. But they still had these 5 over here who said no. What did that really feel like to that student as well, too, right? So we have to also be aware of that, because that is part of this transition period as well, too. So we have to keep in mind, how do you support your child if they have received that non-admit letter, that denial? All right. So here's some key strategies on how you have to support your child to this. And this is critical because I have seen this again on the college campus of some of these burdens that students do bring with them because they didn't deal with it back before when it happened. All right. Here's the first thing first. If your child does receive a non-admit letter, I know my son did as well too. When he applied, he did not get admitted to all the colleges he applied to. He got admitted to half he did not. How did I support him through what he was feeling around that? First and foremost, you have to acknowledge what they're feeling. And I use the term grief here because for them, that's what it feels like. It feels like a loss for them. And it's hurtful, it sucks, it don't feel good, it's awful. Just acknowledge that first. How can you just acknowledge that with them when they open it? Just say, oh man, and just let them sit in it at that moment. And all of those feelings that they're feeling. Because oftentimes as parents, and me, I'm a mom, so my first instinct, I'm gonna try to just make it right. And like, well, okay, what we gonna do? We gonna do this and that. At that moment, that's not the best approach first. Let them just acknowledge how they're feeling and let them go through all those feelings, because they may be sad first, then they may get angry, then they may get mad, and that may take a couple of days for them to process all of those emotions. Let them process it. Just fall back for the moment. It may be a day, two, depending on your child, maybe a week, whatever it is, let them process it in their time. Just check in with them. How you doing? You want to talk? If they're not ready to talk, don't force it, because they're not going to listen anyway. And we all know that. Been through it, they're not going to hear us. Don't force it. Let them just work through those emotions, because they may be going through a lot of different types of emotions at that point, right? Let them process that. While they're processing, you want to still be their support. I'm still here for you. When you want to talk, let me know. There will be a time when they will then be ready to have processed that. Then let's talk. When they get to that point, then now we can start reviewing options. Then the mother in us, the father in us who want to now make it right, that's when it's now time to start talking about other options. When they are still processing their emotions, they don't want to hear other options right then. They're just in that space. Let them have that space. I can't say that loud enough, hard enough, because I have had to do that with a lot of students. Let them have that space for a moment. It's okay. They will not sit there. And I'm going to tell you another reason why this is important. What I have seen, students who do not fully process what that feels to them, what happened to them, because they can take it personally. They can take it that somehow I'm not good enough. I didn't measure up. If they don't have a chance to process that then, and they just keep it inside, then they can take that with them onto the college campus, and they will go into their college career always feeling like they didn't belong, they didn't make it, this was second tier, all of those negative emotions and feelings right there. Don't want that, okay? Let them sit in it right now. Here's another thing. If you do find that your child, as they're processing this, you feel like it's a little bit longer than you think, reach out for support and help. It's okay to reach out for someone else, maybe for them to speak to as well too. So reach out for help for your child and someone. If you see that they're staying in this space too long, because we do want them to process those emotions and not hold them in, because they will carry them onto the college campus and that could derail them. We don't want that to happen. Although college campuses do have a lot of mental health services and support on campus, we want to try to position them to hit that campus at the best possible space, right? So here's the thing. After you've processed that, then now you can start looking at reviewing other options. Were there any other college options available? Was it just that one school? Was it their dream school? If they had others, then now let's go back to the plan. Let's look at these other schools. What other options do we have here? And then we can create a plan from there. What if they didn't get any admissions? Then you have other options as well too. Take a look at community college has options as well too. There are rolling admissions in other institutions as well too. I've helped families and students do that as well too. Change the tactics, not the goal. The goal of college and the college education doesn't change. We're going to just change the path of how we're getting there. And then you can help your child and support your child in seeing that and embracing that there. And then you can create that plan at that point. All right. Main thing, let them feel what they feel. Don't try to change what they feel. Don't try to fix it right then. It's important for them just to feel it and sit in it. And they have to know that you are just there for them. I got you. I'm here. And when you want to talk, if you want to talk, I'm here. And then when they're ready to talk, now it's time. Okay. Let's review our options. Let's create a plan, because this doesn't stop the plan at all. All right. So I'm going to kind of stop here for any other questions and let the parents ask me any questions they may have. Oh, I see a lot in that chat. Anything for me?
We've been answering questions along the way, but if parents have any questions, please feel free to put more questions in the chat.
Okay, perfect. So while you guys are dropping questions in the chat, let me share a little bit about Collegiate Bridge, what we do, other options that we have available. So we do have a Smart Scholarship Strategies coaching program where we teach families how to create funding plans. I have a Smart Start College Prep program that I developed actually, and it is based on my dissertation doctoral research, which specifically teaches students how to successfully transition to college and navigate college once they're on that college campus. And I also have a parent workbook I put together around beating the scholarship game, which is perfect for seniors, parents of seniors right now, because you really need to be focusing in on those scholarships that are still out there. There's scholarships with February deadlines, March, April, and there will be scholarships into the summer as well too. So it is not too late, and you don't have to just wait on scholarships from the institution, the college or the university. There are scholarships from the community, and here's contact information as well. Dr. Nicole Henderson, my email, website, and while you're at it, follow us on all the social media. Have questions? I am here, as you know, I shared with you, my commitment to this is helping students and families be successful in this journey. So once we start, I continue, as I shared with you, the student who I work with for all the way her senior year and her freshman year into college. So it's about the success of the students for me. Any other questions?
Thank you, Dr. Nicole. Yes, we have 2 additional questions. One says, Dr. Henderson, what is the proper way to negotiate a scholarship/aid offer?
So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, I think, in the next session. We're going to talk about the money and paying for it. But yes, you absolutely can negotiate for more aid. But here's the thing, keep in mind, the financial aid office is swamped, busy, and overloaded. Number one thing, don't be adversarial. You have to be really, really nice and get them on your side. I tell people that all the time, because it works. They are your best friend. Don't go in adversarial and say, this is absolutely ridiculous, and how do you think I'm going to pay for this? That's not the approach. Okay, don't do that, because your stuff will get pushed right to the back. Okay, I know. I work very closely with the financial aid office. Here's how this thing works. You need to put together a email, is what I suggest. You need to have a name of someone you're working with in the financial aid office as well too, not to the general email. Every student has someone in the financial aid office that will work with them. Find out who that person is. That email will go to that person. And also I would encourage, my strategy would be put the director of financial aid on there also. All right, again, that's some of my little insider tips y'all get, because if it goes to the director, guess what? The director has to respond and tell somebody to pay attention to this, okay? Because if it comes to me as a dean, guess what? I gotta say, hey, why is it coming to me? And I gotta go to my team and say, hey, take care of this. Always push it, bump it up a little, get some eyes on it, all right? Number one, you then want to outline for them that this is absolutely the number one school that your child wants to attend. It's where they are, they love it. They don't want to go anywhere else. That's number one. Number two, reiterate what your child brings to the stage. Who are they? They are this person and what they do, all of their accomplishments, all of that goes next, and then share with them why you think your child is deserving of additional aid. And in order for that to happen, for your child to come to the school, we will need to have more additional aid. And if there's anything specific that may have changed, include that. So, that may have changed that impacted the finances, include that. So was there anything that changed in the family since you started the process, right? Was there a marriage? Was there a death? Was there a divorce? Was there an illness? Any major life change? Did you have to, an older parent you have to take in, or a grandmother or an aunt, anything? You would be surprised that any life event will get the attention of financial aid. What will not get the attention of financial aid, which will not get you more aid, is if you say, we have a lot of bills, and so I can't afford it. That means nothing. They will not say, they will not listen to, my mortgage on my house is this much, so we need more money because of my mortgage and my house and my cars. That is not what happens. It's life that they want to know about. So if there's life events or anything like that that happen, include that. And they will take that into consideration if something has changed that could impact the finances. So I hope those were some strategies that were helpful.
That's really good. Leslie asked, how would students go about inquiring about scholarships with their school of choice if none is offered with the initial acceptance? Should we reach out to the financial aid office directly?
Yes, absolutely. You should absolutely reach out to the financial aid office as well as your admissions person. Here's the thing about the admissions, because they can often be your contact and giving and connecting you to other resources as well too, because whoever is your admissions rep, they played a role in you being accepted, okay? So they want any student that they got accepted, they want their student to enroll. All right, so they are going to help you get anything you want as much as they can to make sure that you enroll at the school, because they had to sit in the committee, they had to vote for you, whatever. They're more than likely they were part, they could have been part of it. I should say could, because it depends on institutions, but more than likely the admissions rep had to put forward your child's application to be admitted. Do the admissions rep as well too, and also the financial aid office. Here's the question you want to ask. How are scholarships awarded? Is there a separate application for scholarships that you need to complete? Because some institutions have another scholarship applications that students never never find out about. Find out if there's another one, and also find out, do they award all the scholarships, or can students go and find additional scholarships and apply for those? That's where you, that's your question, because then they will direct you whether they have all of their scholarships listed on a portal, which is what most colleges do now. They list them somewhere online, and they will direct you there. Absolutely reach out. Don't wait. If you haven't reached out now, reach out now. Very good question. And I'm gonna tell you another reason why it's really good to reach out. I tell parents and students this all the time. We've heard it. What do we say? The noisy one is who they listen to. So if you're sending emails and your child's name and you're the one making the noise, that's who they hear. So the noise, the email, it gets your child up there. So if it's scholarship, they may say, oh, I heard about this one, or this one came out, or whatever. You may help make those connections for your child. And it is okay for you as a parent to send the email as well as your child. Both at this point can be sending emails. And in fact, I would encourage both.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for your questions. Thank you, Dr. Nicole. As you see, her contact information is right in front of you. Please make sure to follow her or send her an email. Thank you so much. This is part 1, okay? Dr. Nicole will be back for 2 more in our series. We have a 3-part series, so we are super excited to bring her back in March and in April, so please stay tuned. And thank you for your time. This is recorded, so we will send this out to you all. Anything else from Dr. Nicole or Mr. Burrows?
Thank you, Dr. Nicole, again. Very informative. I know there's a lot of questions, so we definitely look forward to the next 2 sessions.
Oh, really, really great questions. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it. I would also encourage the parents at this point now, since they kind of see this series and I'm going to be back, it's a great time to start formulating your questions